We're back.
Oh, yes, we are.
Welcome to the Hell's Gate Podcast for the
Welcome
first time in a
back.
long time.
Welcome back,
It's been
everyone.
about 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks.
Yeah,
It's been too long for
very.
sure. Too long for sure. So it is I, Dominick S. Panetta.
It is I, Anthony A. Militello.
What's that middle name again?
Armando, baby.
Your name is Anthony Armando Militello.
Yes, sir.
Fantastic.
Yes,
All right,
it is.
well, we're back. We're here. Unfortunately, there's some circumstances that we can't control going on in the background. I don't know if you can hear it or not. Maybe you can, maybe you can't.
It's some like huge blocky machine behind us just on the wall. And we think it goes to something that's in another room, and we just cannot figure out how to shut it off. We called the 1-800 number trying to figure it out, and it's just, we can't.
We literally, so
We just can't.
we called, I couldn't figure out how to shut it off. And I was like, Anthony, Armando, look up this.
That is I.
There was like a help button, and I clicked the help button, and we went into it, and apparently there was a 1-800 number to call for U.S., Germany, China. And I was like, you want to call the German one? He was like, no, it's called the American one. And I was like, all right, fine. So we called, and no dice. They were
Nothing.
closed.
They were closed, so
Anyway,
we apologize for that noise is what we're trying to say in closing there.
we're here. We're back.
We're back. It's good to be back.
We're ready.
We
Feeling
are.
sexy.
So let's
We
just
had
hop.
a nice
Oh,
break.
alright.
Sorry, I just wanted to
Oh,
explain.
that's okay. Go ahead. Go
You know,
ahead.
we had a nice break. We were feeling, first of all, a little bit burned out on the 4 days a week we were trying to do. We were trying to do at least 3 days a week.
Yeah.
At bare minimum 2. And that was burning us out a little bit because the sports world was a little dry.
Yes.
And the wrestling world was a little dry. But there's a lot of juicy goods that are here now. And
Oh,
along
yeah.
with that, we'd been discussing things like episode length. We really needed to figure that stuff out before we came back, and now we're
Yeah.
here. And we decided we're just going to go and do what we want to do.
Go with the flow, yeah.
And just
Just like our
talk.
podcasts kind of are. There's some who are on a consistent schedule like we were, and there's some who you never know when they're going to drop episodes. So we're going to try to obviously keep you updated on
We're still going to try and do at
but-
least once a week, but basically whenever things pick up, we'll put out more podcasts.
Yeah.
Whenever things slow down, we'll slow down. But
So
we'll
just stay
definitely keep you-
tuned,
yeah.
and the greatest podcast of all time will have stuff for you when we can get it to you.
And we're back.
So how about that?
That's the most important thing. And our first topic of discussion, it's Super Bowl season, baby.
Super Bowl, baby.
Super Bowl season.
We got the championship games. All right, so first we'll go Chiefs and Patriots. Who you got?
I'm going to go. I can't go against the Patriots, although I really enjoy the Chiefs. I like watching them. I like Andy Reid.
Blasphemy.
I really think that Patriots are going to win because it's Super Bowl season, baby.
Yeah, they always find a way. However, I'm going to go with the Chiefs here because Chiefs are like that team that I've watched a lot this year, honestly, because of how hot they are and because of they were the hottest commodity in the NFL this year for the amount of points that they would put up every game and how they would dictate the game with their offense while having a lackluster defense. But, I have a feeling that Pat Mahomes is going to go in there and torch them for some reason. I know they played earlier in the season and the Patriots edged them out by a few points. There's a chance that can happen again. There's a chance the Patriots will blow them out because that's the Patriots. But I got a weird feeling that Pat Mahomes is going to go in there and completely dominate them.
I won't count against T. Brady. I just can't do it.
It's
as
hard.
much as I like Pat Mahomes.
Trust me, it's very hard for me to say this. That's why I keep making if
and
ands
I
or buts
love
about it. But
watching Chiefs football. It makes me
so
think
fun.
about what could have been done. Well, if Alex Smith wasn't their quarterback for so long. I like Alex Smith. Don't get me wrong.
he's so
I think
consistent.
he's solid.
But
he's
he's just solid. He's never been over the top good.
Yeah. So let's move on over to the good old NFC. What do you think?
So it's the Saints versus the Rams for the NFC game. I'm going to go with the Rams here, and I'm going to tell you why. Because a lot of people are picking Drew Brees as that old 40-year-old Cinderella story to, he'll get his Super Bowl and ride off into the sunset, because that's happened in the past with Ray Lewis, Peyton Manning. Destiny is on their side for sure, but I'm going to go with the Rams because when I watched Rams football this year, like we were talking about with the Chiefs, they were the
Electric.
they were probably
man.
the second hottest commodity in
For
football
sure.
this year. So, if not the first, but watching them, how they dictate the game. Sean McVay is a fantastic coach. How he dictates the game is so hard to coach against, and I feel like the Saints could beat them, obviously, but no, I just see the Rams. They're going to go in there. They're going to get to business, and get it done.
So the first time in a long time, it is the first time in a long time that Drew Brees has a competent defense and decent weapons. And both of those things equal Super Bowl because we've seen it once before.
We'll see.
And I think Drew Brees will pull it out, and this will cement his legacy. Like, when we talk about the great quarterbacks of all time, we talk about Tom Brady, Joe Montana. We talk about guys like Peyton Manning. That is...
Drew Brees is definitely up there. I know where you're getting at with this. Sorry to interrupt.
He's
but I know
severely disrespected in that
he
conversation. And I think this will cement him as one of the greats of all time. And in my eyes, it'll put him above certain guys. Like, a lot of people think Dan Marino was better than Drew Brees, and I don't think he was. I think they're about on a consistent level.
Yeah,
they're both very good. All-time greats, but I think Drew Brees is a little better.
Yeah. That's fair.
And I think there is an argument to be made about all the other quarterbacks in the NFL and NFL history that
I don't know
Drew
about
Brees is top
currently
5.
Right now. There's a lot of guys, not a lot, but there's guys better than him currently. But
I think I'd take him over Peyton Manning.
No.
I really would.
No way. Peyton Manning in his prime was absolutely unreal.
He was, but so
was Drew Brees, but like
they both had longevity.
They honestly, they're kind of similar in a way because Peyton Manning also for a while struggled with having like a good team around him, but the one year he did with the Colts, won a Super Bowl. The one year that the Saints had an elite offense and defense, they won the Super Bowl. So, I mean, Peyton won a second one with the Broncos, but that was simply because of his defense because he was not good at that point. But yeah, both when they're given like elite talent, they've shown that they can get a Super Bowl. So like they're very similar, but I just think Manning had better. He was just better all around in my opinion, but.
I understand where you're coming from, but I think that there's a reason Drew Brees is going to have all the records, all of them, everyone, even the receiving records.
Because he's only gotten hurt like a few times throughout his career. He's been consistently fantastic.
Well, the thing is, he had a huge injury, just like Peyton did, but I think it was his shoulder.
The funny thing is about that is when he came back from that injury, he was throwing better than he was before.
That's my exact point.
Which is insane.
He did have a big injury, a big team change early in his career. He was originally a Charger.
And he was not good on the Chargers.
And then he went to the Saints. And Sean Payton's a great coach.
He is, yes. So, I mean, since your Super Bowl is going to be the Saints and Patriots, who you got winning that one?
That is really a more wait and see. But if I had to choose one right now, I want, just out of sheer, like, I need the Saints to win. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say the Saints because Tom Brady's already cemented his legacy as the greatest quarterback of all time. I won't hear anything else. If you tell me that someone else was better, I'm just going to laugh at you because that is a ridiculous opinion. Tom Brady's the greatest quarterback of all time. He doesn't really need another Super Bowl to cement that, and he can get one next year. You never know what's going to happen with Drew Brees, to be completely honest with you. And that team is very volatile. So.
Yeah, I was going to say, but Drew Brees probably has another good 3 years in him, too, if he wanted to.
I think he's got another at least 1 or 2.
Yeah.
Tom Brady can basically go as long as he wants at this point.
Well, Tom Brady, he's obviously still fantastic.
He fell off a little.
Yeah, he did. And I think he's only got like 1 or 2 more years in him.
If that is age getting to him and him falling off, him being in the conference finals.
And they absolutely destroyed the Chargers. Like, if anybody listening to this, watch that game. Like, they physically, mentally dominated them. Phillip Rivers, I love the guy, great quarterback. He can't play against the Patriots.
Underrated quarterback.
Yeah,
and the Chargers probably feel stupid.
But when you're 0-8 against Tom Brady, you're not going to be considered as a top quarterback when you can't beat
I agree.
Tom Brady at least once. At least Peyton Manning got him a few times. Drew Brees got him a couple times.
Do you think Phillip Rivers makes the Hall of Fame?
Ooh, that's a
I think he's
question.
Not a first ballot guy, but I think he makes the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I don't see why not. Well, because he's been consistently good, but
yeah,
he had a few times where he was like
great.
He had a few,
but I don't recall
he's
any
never
seasons
been to
where
a Super Bowl.
Bad.
If I'm not mistaken, I don't think he's ever been to a championship game either. So when it comes to NFL, like, the numbers in that sense is like really big, and when judging a quarterback, because if they don't have Super Bowl wins, if they don't have a lot of playoff wins, that's definitely going to dictate where they're going to be placed in like the Hall of Fame or not. So
I understand.
So maybe I'm a maybe on that, but he should be if you're going off of his sheer talent. But I don't know.
In summary,
he hasn't gotten it done.
I've got Patriots, Saints, and I'm going Saints.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, yeah. Well, I have the complete opposite one. I have the Chiefs versus the Rams. And before on this podcast, we talked about it, and I said the Rams, but man, I don't like. I'm gonna stick with the Rams because I don't like changing my predictions like that. I'm not that guy. But it's very hard to go on here and say that the Chiefs are gonna lose. But yeah, I'm gonna go with the Rams because Sean McVay, fantastic coach. I feel like
Rams Super
he'll
Bowl
find a
champions?
way. Yeah, I feel like he'll find a way to pick apart the Chiefs with his good coaching. I think he's that good of a coach already, which is funny because, little side story, me and my dad were talking about Sean McVay the other day, and neither of us had any idea who it was. So I looked him up.
You know who Sean McVay was?
Well, yeah, he before, like way
Redskins
before,
coach?
he started coaching when he was 21.
Yeah,
And he was a wide receivers coach for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
He was an excellent offensive coordinator for the Redskins after
exactly,
that.
but he was
Incredible.
Yeah, he was a offensive coordinator for the Redskins. He's never been a head coach until the Rams, which is funny. Like, how does he get all this credibility for being the offensive coordinator for a team that hasn't even gone to like a Super Bowl in a while or anything like that?
You can very well see, like, when you watch the Redskins for that stretch of time, they were amazing offensively.
Oh, yeah,
and like,
for sure,
you had guys like Chris Thompson going off on a regular basis. Kirk Cousins was having you liked that season under Sean McVay.
Yeah,
he was Kirk was great under Sean. Basically, the entire offense was good when he was, and it was just about the creative play calling and the ingenuity on offense.
Yeah,
that's really what it's about, I think.
He's just a really good coach. Like I said, the few games, because I've watched like 3 or 4 games this season. Some of them are losses though, but even in the losses, like, he does a really good job at dictating the game offensively and defensively, like keeping them in check. Because he's like a young guy, he connects with the players very well, and but he's serious obviously about it. That's something that Mike Tomlin sometimes lacks. I know when Mike Tomlin is out of the blue, but like, he's another guy who connects with his players because he's around that age. He understands the lingo and all that stuff. But
well, on the subject, man, Mike Tomlin has completely lost control of his team. Oh, yeah. Entirely.
That's what I'm saying.
Antonio
like,
Brown is now he always kind of was, but like, he's really a prima donna now.
Yeah.
Le'Veon's gone.
Exactly.
Like, it's not looking good for Mike Tomlin.
That's why I'm saying that Mike Tomlin lacks, because Sean McVay has that like youth to connect with his players, but he's also extremely, extremely serious at all times. And
well, he's got some lighthearted moments in him.
But like,
I understand what you're saying.
You get what I'm saying. Yeah, he's like,
sure.
He sticks to his game plan. Like, he's very orthodox, and he's just good. He's just a very good coach. So I'm picking the Rams.
Okay.
That's what I'm going with.
That's fine, and I respect that opinion.
But I'm hoping for the Chiefs, but I think the Rams are going to win, yeah.
All right, so harmless transition here into wrestling. We got to talk about it.
We do.
I made a couple predictions a long time ago about what was going to happen with Cody Rhodes and the Young Bucks.
Yep.
And it turns out AEW is real. Yep. It is being backed by the Khan family.
Yep.
$100 million.
Yep.
Ooh.
Man, I wish we could have gotten in here during like the press conference. Yeah, when the hype was like at its peak, because
it's still coming though.
It is, and it's not going to die down. But AEW is going to be for real.
Chris Jericho.
Yeah, we'll name some of the guys. I got it written down right here. We'll name some of the guys that have been confirmed for AEW. So they got Cody Rhodes, obviously, the Young Bucks, Neville, which is now Pac or Pac,
whatever the fuck your name is.
Whatever the hell you are, Neville. You're great. Chris Jericho, Hangman Page, Christopher Daniels, Kazarian, and one guy who's not confirmed, but I'm assuming is going to go there, is Kenny Omega.
I mean, it's pretty much all but official at this point. He's going to have a Jericho contract, obviously for a lot more money, because he is wrestling's top star right now.
Yeah.
Don't at me.
I'd say he's the best wrestler in the world right now.
I wouldn't say he's the best wrestler in the world, but I would say he is for sure wrestling's top star. No question in the world right now. I will also say that the amount of money that he's going to be getting paid is absurd, because he turned down an absurd contract from WWE already, he's going to have.
I want to know. I need to do some research on it. I want to know what WWE offered him, because I'm really curious to see how much he turned down from them.
It was superstar money, and they said, "Listen, you're going to go right to the main roster. There's going to be no nonsense. You're going to go right to the main roster. You're going to get creative control." And you know what he said?
You think that's true?
He said, "Hey, no thanks."
You think that's true, though?
I think they offered him and the Young Bucks a 6-month opt-out clause.
And Cody, I'm pretty sure, too.
And Cody, maybe. Yeah, they offered him a 6-month opt-out clause. If they didn't like the creative direction that they were going, they could opt out at any after that 6-month period. And they've never done anything like that before. This is huge. Obviously, we're going to briefly mention the fact that CM Punk may or may not...
If there's somewhere where CM Punk is going to make his pro wrestling return, it's going to be AEW, no doubt. Sure. I am hoping to God that he comes back, because, no offense, CM Punk, Phil
Brooks,
but you're not going to make it in the UFC. I'm sorry. I'm not a Debbie Downer. Follow your dreams. I mean, hey, if you think you can still do it, keep going for it. But from what people have seen so far, you're not looking like you're gonna have a career
sorry,
in
man.
that. Sorry.
Sorry, Phil.
Well, kudos to him though. That's like the ultimate respect from like anybody who looks in at that. Went from pro wrestling to the UFC, got destroyed, and is still training for it. Like, that's the ultimate respect. But like, you got to know when it's not for you, buddy, and it's not.
Well, I heard he wanted to do commentary, and at the very least, him and JR on commentary.
That'd be
Could you
fantastic.
imagine?
He was so good, CM Punk, in pro wrestling.
At everything.
Like, I don't know why.
You know why.
Yeah, I was about to say, he said he lost his passion for it.
And he had a bad injury that WWE mishandled. All of the factors that it was wrestling's fault, it was all WWE's fault.
Exactly.
Working him into the ground, him losing passion, no creative control. My one fear is that he will not come back the same. What were you going to say?
So imagine him coming to AEW because he would be able to do pretty much whatever he wants, and it would be fantastic.
My thing is, what are they going to have to pay him? He hasn't been in the ring in forever. The best time for him to show up was really at All In Chicago.
It was.
I have no idea why he...
Because
apparently
rumored.
They called him, they texted
Yeah.
him, they're like, hey, man, if you want to come out and do something for All In,
It
just
literally
let us
seemed
know.
like all but confirmed that he would at least be like there. That doesn't mean he has to
was there.
wrestle. No, he wasn't there at all.
He didn't even go?
No.
Wow.
But it seemed like it was all but confirmed that he was going to go there, and that was going to be the start of him getting back into pro wrestling. He's
Or
really
just
good
a one-off
friends.
appearance.
He's really good friends with the Young Bucks. If I remember correctly, I think he's good friends with Cody too.
He's not good friends with them. He's on good terms, which is a lot to say for CM Punk because he just is like the guy
he's kind of a
dick.
stubborn guy. Yeah.
Hard
to talk to.
Obviously he's very good with JR because everyone's very good with JR because JR is a great guy. And I think that him versus Kenny Omega, you throw Goldberg in there, Chris Jericho in there, there could be some dream match potential. I don't know how Jericho and Goldberg are gonna coexist.
But hey.
But you know what?
That's what I'm curious about. This is kind of putting you on the spot here, but if there's some guys from like WWE, like present or past, like who do you think is going to go to AEW?
I think Kenny Omega, obviously he had a cup of tea in WWE, but I think that's the main guy that we're confirmed is going to go.
Probably. Yeah.
I think the Revival will eventually end up there.
Yeah.
I think that Finn Balor's recent WWE push is strictly to keep him from going to AEW.
Probably.
Because he is a merchandise machine. He is a
great wrestler.
Great draw, money-wise. People pay to see Finn Balor.
Awesome.
I think that you'll see that a lot. A lot of guys.
Yeah.
And I said in a previous podcast that if I were AEW, I would be... I know tampering is illegal, but I would for sure be trying to get some Marquis Ziggler,
I was
some
about to say Dolph
WWE, big
Ziggler was
WWE
the first
guys
person that came to mind
that have been underutilized.
Rusev probably.
I don't think
eventually.
Rusev will leave, but
Shinsuke Nakamura.
Shinsuke's going back to Japan, I think.
Or yeah, it's either that or AEW because he'll probably be gone soon. Truthfully,
I don't think that there's a lot of talk that's been surrounding particular superstars. That's just talk. I think one example is for sure. People have been saying, I just forgot his name.
Who?
We'll come back to it. Anyway, I said in a previous podcast that I wanted New Day to go there for AEW's sake because you take
the merchandise aspect. Yeah.
You just take that's like a WWE has built their current product around a few guys that nobody really notices. So that's Dolph Ziggler, that's The Miz, it's New Day, it's The Bar. People tune in to see great matches, and those guys consistently deliver good, at least good matches.
Yeah.
And they sell merch, and they.
I don't see the New Day going there though.
No, I don't
truthfully.
either. I think that they're getting paid a lot of money. I think they should. I think Kofi Kingston would be actually a really good addition to the main event roster of AEW.
Yeah.
But there are plenty of people on the independents that they can poach.
What about for the way future thinking, like Undisputed Era with like Adam Cole and all them? Like if they don't do good on the main roster, like if they're not booked correctly, I can see guys like that going to AEW. They fit in with that kind of that group of people, that demographic.
Wrestling.
Yeah. And what about someone like AJ Styles?
AJ, I think, is the big fish that they're looking to land outside of Finn Balor.
Seriously though, if AEW lands AJ Styles, like WWE is in deep deep trouble.
It is.
I think they already are, anyways, for the future.
The worst thing they could have done, WWE, in the recent contract negotiations with AJ was not giving him whatever the hell he wanted.
Yeah.
Because I know Vince doesn't see him like he sees himself or fans see him. And that's not evident by his pushes. That's just evident by Vince's track record with stars of that caliber and size. Like, if you look at CM Punk, they didn't think CM Punk was CM Punk. Like, the fans thought of him.
Man, he was so
even
good.
though he got a good push and he was headlining
and
things.
It was strictly because of the fans. He did not want to do that. Same thing with, like, Daniel Bryan.
Exactly.
Finn Balor, I think, slightly falls under this category because...
Well, he never got his big push, really. He won he was the first Universal Champion, and that was it for him. Exactly. He got injured, and then he fell out of favor.
So when the McMahons went on Raw and said that there's no more GMs, that they're going to run both shows, they're going to do what the fans want, is right when Finn Balor got pushed. So that's pretty much saying they didn't want to push him, but the fans wanted him pushed.
If
so
you look at it from an objective perspective, if you just look at it, it looks very pathetic.
Yeah.
They have had consistently terrible ratings.
It's like hilarious how bad they are at booking. Like, it's not that hard.
Everything.
Like, random kids like us can think of a better storyline and better feuds to make than the actual professional WWE writers, which is sad.
And I can bring up 1,000,001 problems. We've done it in several previous podcasts.
Several, and I'm sure there's going to be way more to come.
How to fix Raw, how to fix WWE, what they shouldn't do, what they should do.
Mm-hmm.
And the worst thing that could have happened at this exact time was for a rival promotion to pop up.
Yeah, literally.
That is the
worst
scenario. And they look so pathetic, just groveling and trying to appease the fans so they won't jump ship.
Yep.
I'll say it right now. I'm full, and obviously you don't have to pick sides. That's not how this is. But I am full team AEW because they have.
That.
And I've grown up on WWE, and I love wrestling, but the lack of competition has allowed them to grow fat and ugly. Yep. And they just do not care about what we think at all.
Consistently mediocre.
And I wouldn't even say mediocre. They've been bad.
Yeah.
Like, the wrestling can be good, but that is the only, and that's all the wrestlers. It has nothing to do with the way it's being managed.
See, and the really funny part is, like, on SmackDown, the matches are usually good, but the storylines are absolutely hideous. And on Raw,
and the scripted promos, it's just like a disaster, man.
And on Raw, there's like sometimes a good story here and there, but the matches are consistently bad. So it's just like they have no in between. They don't have a consistency, and it's just really frustrating. And I've said this before on a past podcast, I believe. I could be wrong, but I think AEW is going to be the closest thing WWE has had that, or how am I trying to word this? I think they're going to be the closest thing to WCW that WWE had to deal with.
I think they're going to be. At first, it'll only catch on with hardcore wrestling fans.
It'll take time, but I think if they
it will never become the household name that
probably not.
WWE is, never.
Just because of the kids, truthfully.
I think the biggest thing we need to keep in mind is that AEW has the opportunity to be what TNA was supposed to be. Like at its peak, right before Bischoff and Hogan and
way better.
All that garbage flooded into TNA. AEW has the opportunity to be that and more.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I think Lucha House Party, every member of Lucha House Party could easily go to AEW. I think Breezango, the Fashion Police, could end up in AEW.
People will get utilized, and that's what's really scary to WWE about AEW. For
sure, man.
And that's why I think it's going to be the closest thing that they've had to a rival promotion since WCW.
They need to secure a Hulu deal or a Netflix deal in addition to their TV deal. That is necessary for their growth.
Yeah.
And for people to watch their stuff.
I'll tell you what, if they get like a TV deal and they're on like live TV like on a weekly basis, I will be watching that probably more than WWE.
Tuesday Night Dynamite,
baby.
Is sad. I'll be watching.
Yeah, sure. Isn't that what it's going to be called? Yeah. Tuesday Night Dynamite?
They filed a patent or a trademark for it.
Yeah.
They're definitely doing Double or Nothing. I can't remember if it's in June or whatever. But
I think it's more recent than that. I could be wrong.
I hope so.
But I will be watching AEW if it's on live TV, probably more than WWE, which is really sad because, like, I've always been, Dom even knows this, I've always been that kind of guy who, like, sticks to WWE.
Yeah.
I refuse to go watch, like, New Japan and, like, even, like, Being the Elite and, like, all those guys before. Ring of Honor, TNA. Like, I refuse to watch any of that stuff because I've been a hardcore WWE guy.
Right.
But, like, when I see something like this come up with all these names and all these fantastic wrestlers and how creative they are from, like,
and how
little
they actually
stuff I've
care
seen.
about their wrestlers even,
Yeah.
and offer them some sort of insurance. Whether they've confirmed, Cody has confirmed, the Young Bucks, Tony Khan they've all confirmed that the wrestlers will be taken care of when it comes to injuries.
Yeah.
And that is such a big development.
Huge.
Like, can you imagine that WWE, after all of the money they've made, they don't offer like insurance to their
Right.
wrestlers? Like, how absurd is that?
It's crazy. I don't know.
I mean, this is the best thing that could happen to wrestling right now.
And you know what I
genuinely
said?
believe that.
I said this on the podcast, I think, too, is I always thought Cody Rhodes was going to end back in WWE just because of his father, just because to cement his legacy with Dusty, rest in peace. I thought that was the route that he was going to go. I thought he was going to stay around the indies for a while, make his money, because he makes more money there than he does in WWE. But, like, after doing something like this far beyond cements his legacy, his dad would be looking down on him as proud as words could describe right now, because
Dusty didn't even like WWE, really.
This is like the ultimate, like, goal, pretty much, for, like, a pro wrestler.
Oh, yeah.
And like, for 90% of pro wrestlers, this isn't even an obtainable goal. But Cody, Young Bucks, all these guys, they went out there and they're making their own promotion. It's absolutely insane, and, like, kudos to them. And it's going to work out, I think. I think it's going to be great.
I'm just so excited. I can't even begin to tell you.
I'm so excited, and I just can't hide it.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And this is so, like, if Braun doesn't get booked right when his contract comes up, can you imagine all the top stars right now that could just easily jump ship if they wanted to?
As
soon as their contract ends?
It's going to be a really good alternative for a lot of guys, and that should scare WWE.
I really hope they do this right. I'm hoping, and it sounds like they are. They're going to have a nice two-man commentary team, because 3 people sucks. That's proven.
Yeah.
It's just weird when 2 people are having a conversation, the other person's trying to chime in and get their voice
Me
in.
and you on this podcast sometimes cut each other off. Like, there's 3 guys, and it happens all the time. 2 is way better. I don't know how they don't realize that.
And it's just about calling matches. Obviously, we could go on and on about what they could do right to become successful.
Yeah, but I think they already know.
And this podcast will be heavily influenced by what AEW is doing. I really want to get into reviewing obviously it's going to be Double or Nothing first.
Yeah.
But obviously we don't have to review them every week. But if we want to, we could. And
that's why we don't do Raw and SmackDown, because if we did a review, it would be the same thing every week. Oh, this was poor. That was poor. Yeah. That was okay. That's
why we basically just do it for pay-per-views sometimes. I really like us doing it pay-per-views.
You know what?
Nice.
Yeah, I agree. But like a random side note, because that just reminded me of something. You know what I actually enjoy right now on SmackDown, and it's like funny because it reminds me of like the past and like all the funny, cool storylines they used to have. Like Mandy Rose with like the I forgot which Uso brother it is that's married to Naomi.
You know, I
don't know.
I do know what you're talking about, and I love that.
Me too. I think it's hilarious how she's like trying to like get him to like get in a room with him and like kiss him and all this stuff. Like that's like that's like old school WWE stories, and I think they need to go back to stuff like that.
I think it's funny. As soon as Vince comes back, like to episodic television, you see Alexa Bliss getting walked in on by some random dude. She's just naked. She's got a towel over her. Like as soon as Vince comes back, it becomes like Vince again.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that's I'm not misogynistic. That's not the best way to go about it. But I just think it's a nice hearkening back to what wrestling used to be.
It's like a nostalgia for me, because like those storylines were like hilarious when I was younger, and they were interesting storylines. It was like a soap opera almost, but like it.
Don't start.
But it would end up I know. But it would end up going into the ring, so it was like the best way possible to resolve a really cool storyline.
It's funny to think about that, because it was just wrestling back then.
Yeah.
Now I think it's more soap opera-y. Like it's like more soap opera-ish to me now.
It's sad. But the cool thing about this storyline randomly though is that Mandy Rose could actually become like a big time star for once if she wins this feud, which is kind of cool.
We've got to talk about the women's tag team championships.
Ooh.
They are finally
That's a good move
us
by WWE.
what we want, and that's all because of AEW, in my opinion.
I was about to say that's a step one in trying to contain AEW, but
I mean, they're doing everything. They're not doing everything right now. They're WWE. They're still screwing everything up.
Oh yeah,
but they're taking
on the right
steps
track.
in the right
Yeah,
direction.
they're on the right track.
And
pushing
if
Finn Balor,
AEW flops and is terrible, and
which is unlikely, honestly, but
if it just doesn't work, which I really hope doesn't happen, but the wrestling community and the world of WWE and just pro wrestling in general has been changed for the better because of it.
Mm-hmm. The only thing that I think AEW may lack, but I could be dead wrong, is like how their storylines go, because a lot of these guys on the independent scene, they don't cut promos. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think that's a big part of being a big time star, is knowing how to cut your own promo.
Exactly.
Kenny Omega promos are weird because he's always been in Japan, but
exactly,
he knows how to cut his own promo.
I know. I'm saying that might be the only problem for some of these guys, because they're all indie stars. A lot of them have never been.
Thing is, they're gonna get it
full-time
They'll
WWE.
Get it.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
They're gonna catch on, and they're gonna be better if they end up jumping ship.
Yeah,
and then vice versa.
I'm just saying that's like the one singular thing that could very well be a problem, but we don't know. But with Cody like running the helm and him knowing the in and outs of all companies, pretty much, he's been in WWE, Ring of Honor. I could be wrong, but was he in Impact at all? Who cares? Because
sure.
Impact doesn't matter. Whatever. But he's been everywhere, so he knows the in and out. So I'm sure they'll get that figured out. But that could be the only problem. Other than that, I think it's gonna be pretty good. It's gonna be sweet.
I can't wait, man. And it's funny because I got so sick of WWE that the only reason I was watching it was because I love wrestling. And then I started watching New Japan a little bit, and it's a little ridiculous because it's Japanese, you know. And I'm not saying all Japanese things are ridiculous, but it's a little ridiculous sometimes. And I watched Wrestle Kingdom 13, and I watched Wrestle Kingdom 12 last year. I watched their big pay-per-view events.
Good wrestling, man.
Great wrestling. Decent storytelling in the ring. Some guys know how to cut promos. Other guys, they're speaking Japanese, so I have no idea what they're saying.
Yeah.
Their commentary is okay. And Ring of Honor, I've never really had access to.
Neither have I, but
I think that has held it back.
I've watched it online. A lot of Cody's content I've seen online from Ring of Honor, and it seems pretty good. I mean, I don't know. I don't know when it's even on, but what I've seen from it, it's pretty good. Like I've even watched old like CM Punk matches and like Daniel Bryan.
Yeah,
it was all good. It's good wrestling. I just don't know how the storytelling part of it goes, but
they would really benefit from getting not a TV deal, but like a streaming deal. Like they need to get on Hulu or Netflix,
something big,
or Roku or something.
Yeah,
like
if it's on Hulu
anything.
or Netflix or like I said, live TV, like I will be watching it, no doubt, and I'm gonna be loving it.
Yeah, Ring of Honor definitely needs that, and of course AEW. They said that they've got several TV networks lined up.
I'm sure they do. And the awesome part is it's gonna get a lot of these like not household name guys, but like we obviously know them because we're fans, but like
hardcore
guys
fans
like
know these guys.
Hangman Page and like Christopher Daniels and Kazarian, like really good wrestlers like that are going to start to become household names if AEW really does a good job. So I'm just excited for it. It should be good.
Absolutely. There's no shortage of talent out there in the wrestling world right now, and WWE just gobbles. This is my biggest thing with WWE. They've been holding their competition down because no one can offer the money that WWE offers, and they've just been gobbling up talent, not doing anything with them. And that's no longer the case because AEW's got funds to spend. They've got $100 million to work with.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, a lot of that's got to go to the show and the pyro but some of it's going to paying the wrestlers.
Yeah.
And I am very, very excited.
Yes, sir. Well, speaking of the opposite of excitement, DeMarcus Cousins is coming back in 2 games. Yay!
To the NBA.
Lovely.
Yes.
Boogie.
Yay, Boogie.
Yeah, I can't wait. I was telling Dom earlier today while we were eating some food, if I really was breaking it down, if Golden State with this starting lineup doesn't win a championship this year, like all 5 of those guys' legacies, in my opinion, should be severely altered because that's just sad. That's just sad if you can't win a championship with that much talent. It's literally sad.
Well, I kind of held the opposite position not opposite because they should win the championship easily, but I wouldn't say. Obviously, that puts a damper on things for them, but I don't think it's legacy altering in the sense that you do. I believe that there's a lot of factors this season that go into whether or not Golden State can win a championship.
Yeah, but
the Raptors are outstanding, and they're the exact kind of team that could beat Golden State. And there's some decent teams in the West that could beat them. But
Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, Kevin Durant, Draymond Donkey Green, and DeMarcus Boogie Cousins. If you can't win a championship with that, It is very.
It's more
it
than
makes,
that, though,
It makes
right?
them all look so bad. I get
their bench is nowhere near as good as it's been in the past.
They got the
Chemistry issues between KD and Draymond. Clay's having an off year. He's heating back up now, but Clay's having an off year. Steph's been injured. Boogie obviously is just now coming back, so
Yeah, but
they could lose for reasons that aren't well, they're basketball related, but they're not like
okay, I know. I'm saying if
talent
they're all
related.
100% healthy and like playing, like if they go on the court, them
Oh,
five
yeah, if
together,
if they lose,
if
then-
they lose, that makes Steph Curry look really bad. That makes not even Clay. Clay's just a shooter, but yeah, it makes Clay look bad. It makes Kevin Durant look really, really bad. It makes
Depends on
Boogie look really, really bad.
individual
And it makes
performances.
Draymond look bad. That's
Draymond
true.
already looks bad. Draymond looks bad.
But I mean, like, I don't know. Even if like Steph drops 30, KD drops 30, Boogie drops 30, and they still lose, I mean, like,
Well, you're at 90 points right now.
that just makes them look bad. Like with that many guys on the team, if it's even near a close game, if you can't close it out some way or another, that is very sad on that team's. What am I looking for here?
I don't know what you were talking about. I was not listening to you at all.
But yeah, when you got that much talent on the court, if you can't win, it's just sad.
It's sad. It truly is. But
I hate Golden State.
enough of that. We talk enough about Golden State.
We do.
One thing that I wanted to talk
Well,
about.
welcome back, Boogie.
Welcome back, Boogie. Hey, I missed you, buddy.
No, we didn't. Bye. Next.
I want to talk another NBA center, another big fella, Enes Kanter. And this is not basketball related,
Beef and turkey.
but I think that it's very, very important that we talk about it because it needs to be discussed. It needs to be put in the limelight. It needs to be some light needs to be shown on this subject.
It does.
Enes Kanter, there is a warrant out for his arrest in Turkey,
Yep.
and they're trying to get him back to their country, basically. They're trying to put him in jail
Yep.
because he supported a particular political candidate. I don't have his name right here. It's very difficult to pronounce from what I understand. There was a coup in Turkey, an attempted failed coup to overthrow their dictator, who is kind of a dick from everything I hear. And it failed, and Enes Kanter supports this guy, so he has been deemed an enemy of the state and a terrorist. A terrorist.
That's insane.
Enes
man.
Kanter. Terrorist.
Such a lovable guy.
He's a
I mean,
nice man.
He's funny and he talks crap too much sometimes, but he's a very nice
but
guy.
he's a
You can
good
just tell.
dude. Like,
you can just tell
and
he's a
he
good
does
dude.
things for kids, and there's no way this man is a terrorist. They've
That's-
already locked it. They sentenced his dad to 15 years in prison in June.
Yeah, and he
Because
denounced
he
his
had,
son. Yeah.
quote, connections to this particular coup leader, who is an alleged coup leader. From what I understand, it may not have even been him that led the coup. Like,
I know.
so, it's a real tough situation for Enes, and it's even tougher for his family, who had to publicly denounce him, and then his daddy got locked up anyway.
That's just absurd. I mean, we're not going to sit here and judge other countries, but like,
Yeah,
that's just
I have no
ridiculous,
beef
man.
with Turkey.
For an opinion that he has on something, he's about to get pretty much denounced as a human being there, and is going to get arrested if he goes
Well, that
there.
had already happened. The
Yeah,
thing
it's-
is, he's been deemed a terrorist.
That's absurd. Absolutely absurd. No guy deserves that just for your opinion, man. Come
I
on.
think that we sometimes, and I'm gonna kind of go off on a political tangent here, so prepare yourself. If you don't want to hear me talk about this,
Buckle
and you
up.
just want to talk about sports, you can just skip through this. But I think we sometimes take for granted what America is
Oh my
and who
God,
we
yeah.
are as Americans and
100%.
the freedom that we have, whether or not you like the president or your governor or whoever. We have a constitution here that allows us great freedom in what politics we choose to support, what kind of things we can say. We're able to have this forum and talk on this podcast because
Freedom.
we are free to speak here in America. We
Yeah.
have freedom of speech. We have this Bill of Rights that allows us to exist the way we do. And I think we take that for granted more than anyone realizes.
Oh, yeah.
And this is just a perfect example. This man simply
Stated
supports
his
the
opinion.
political
Yeah.
ideas of the opposition of their current dictator or president or whatever you want to call him. And he has been deemed a terrorist because he's famous. And I'm
Insane.
sure there are much worse punishments for people in Turkey who support this particular political leader or his set of political beliefs. And it's like that in a lot of places in the world. China, obviously Turkey, some places in the Middle East, even some places in Europe. Obviously North Korea is one. I mean, we certainly take for granted our rights as Americans, and I think this is a very healthy reminder that we are one of the greatest nations in the world.
Oh yeah, we are.
And even in Canada, people are getting locked up or they're getting in trouble with the law for, from what I understand, misgendering people. And that's not a topic we're going to get into here, but I'm just saying that would never happen here.
Yeah.
And it's very important that we keep it that way, and we
sure,
recognize and appreciate our privileges as Americans.
Exactly. And I'm sure something like that, it has to be messing with his game in his head. When
for sure.
When you know that your parents, I mean, it seems like they pretty much like hate him. They denounced him as their son.
Even if they don't, they have to act like they hate him.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They may not actually hate him, but like knowing that his parents have to act, they can't talk to him.
And they can't get out of Turkey because they can't get out because the president won't let them out.
Think about this. Like,
could you imagine?
He lives here, so like technically it's his home, but like Turkey is his actual like home, and he can't even go there.
He can't even go to Canada.
Like how
a Raptors game.
How uncomfortable must that feel for someone like that? Like it has to mess with his head. You got to feel for a guy like that. Like it's sad and it's just not right.
So our greatest and deepest condolences to Enes Kanter and all the people out there who are either oppressed by their government or aren't allowed to do the things that we as Americans have rights to do.
Yep.
And I just wanted to briefly remind everybody listening and myself and Tony that we need to just take into account the privileges we have here and appreciate that a little bit more and maybe be a little bit more considerate
100%.
To people who don't.
100%.
All right, so now that brief political tangent is over, appreciate the listening.
Yeah, thanks, guys. So let's go into our lovely Pistons. What in the hell is wrong with them? What the hell is
not
it?
enough, realistically, not enough talent around
Is it Dwayne
Blake.
Casey?
No, it's not. I mean, it is, kind of.
Because some of the games I watch, it looks like he doesn't know what he's doing. But what is it? He's won Coach of the Year once or twice, right?
Once.
Just once? Okay. Yeah, and it was last year.
And a lot of people argue that might be Nick Nurse, but honestly, I don't think he's the problem. I still think he's a great coach for what he is. I think he needs talent, though. And we only have one talented person.
You start out really hot. The Pistons do this every year. They start out hot. We all get really excited, like, oh my God, the Pistons are going to do something this year. And then they go on like a freaking losing 10 of their last 12 games and doing terrible. And then they never really get back to where they should be. And then they don't make the playoffs.
Well, it's the culture, man. And
that's probably going to happen again.
And I'm not going to blame it on ownership or management.
I am. Tom Gorse is not a good owner.
I'm going to blame it on the players. I think they're the leaders of the locker room. They're solely responsible, namely Andre Drummond, Reggie Jackson. They need to go. I am okay with keeping Andre. Reggie needs to go.
Yep.
A lot of people on our team need to be either traded and luckily, obviously that cap spike in, I think it was 2016 or 2015, that hurt us so bad because we signed bad contracts. John Lure.
Yeah.
Langston Galloway's getting paid a little bit too much money for my liking. The list goes on and on of people that get paid too much.
You think any trades are going to happen?
Of course I do.
Well, here's the thing. The one thing that I miss about Stan Van Gundy is that man did not care. He would trade
the trigger, baby.
every time. Whether it was good or bad, I like a guy who pulls the trigger like that. With Dwayne Casey, sorry, can't talk. But how he was in Toronto, you didn't see him making that many trades. So, like, I have a bad feeling that he's not going to pull the trigger on anything here. And it's really scary.
We need to give him time. Because obviously they have, what is his name? Masai Ujiri or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce it.
Toronto.
I know what you're talking about, yeah.
He is a very good GM, and he put talent in front of Dwayne Casey. But I think ultimately a coach has plenty of say in his personnel, and I think he had say there in Toronto, and they had one of the best bench units consistently every year. And that is a big part of winning basketball games.
Yeah.
So if we build our bench up, it's going to take a couple years, but we're going to give them time. As Pistons fans, we need to give some time. We gave Stan Van Gundy just the right amount of time. I think 1 full year with Blake Griffin would have been preferable, but when Dwayne Casey is on the open market, you jump at that.
You have to, yeah.
So the reigning coach of the year is on the market. You fire your coach if he's mediocre
100%.
like Stan was. And I'm a big fan of Stan Van Gundy.
Stan Van Gundy. I mean, you got to give the props to where we are right now to Stan Van Gundy because he made all these trades. He made the Blake trade. Yeah, like we never got to where Pistons fans would hope, but he definitely did his best effort. He's just
think about our teams
not the
last few
coach that he
years.
used to be.
They've been pretty good.
The way he coached, he still coaches like it was 2009 with Dwight Howard and all the shooters when we didn't have shooters, but he coached like that and it didn't work out. With Stan Van Gundy, the best you'll be is like a 6 seed team now. You know, that's the best, but like he's not a bad coach. No one's saying that. He just wasn't. He doesn't fit in this NBA anymore. But the Pistons have been in contact very briefly with the Mavericks about Dennis Smith Jr. What do you think about that?
I think there's no water to that. I don't like. What are we gonna offer them for Dennis Smith Jr.? This is the same thing with Markelle. Like, what are they? They have JJ Barea.
He's hurt, and he's gonna retire soon, probably.
Stop it. He's Mark Cuban's best friend.
He's gonna retire.
He'll never retire.
He'll retire.
I will never retire. That's a Ric Flair
if the money worked out, I'd go trade Reggie Jackson for him. Maybe like a 2nd-round pick for Dennis Smith Jr. I don't see why they wouldn't do that.
Right? They're going to have to include like Dwight Powell, and
Probably.
they love Dwight Powell. So to make the money work with Reggie, they would have to do that. But I'd love to get Dennis Smith, just like I'd love to get Markelle Fultz.
Honestly,
but it's not going to happen.
A lot of people around the area I know like Luke Kennard a lot and like think that he can turn into something. But if the Mavericks today picked up the phone and said, "Hey, give me Luke Kennard and like a 1st or 2nd-round pick for Dennis Smith,"
well, it would be a first, not a second. It'd be
first round. Sure. Yeah, I'd say hell yeah. I think Dennis Smith Jr. I think the Mavericks are giving up on him too soon. To be honest with you, I think with how athletic he is, and like he is very skilled for being that athletic. He's not just an athlete; he's really skilled. But he's in his 2nd year. I don't think they're giving him enough time. I think once he puts it all together, like with his athleticism, he reminds me. He's nowhere near Westbrook. I'm not saying that. But Westbrook early on in his career just looked like an athlete. Didn't look like he would have much skill to his game.
Man. He's just Dennis Smith is Eric Bledsoe.
I think he might be a little better eventually, but
I just think he's not a natural point guard and he's not a natural play. Like he doesn't create for others. He has bad turnovers. That's all young guy stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not too worried about that. But
Westbrook was like that a lot too. He's
still like that.
Exactly, I know. But Westbrook early on in his career, everybody was like, I don't think he's gonna have it. I think he's just a really athletic player who will put points on the board because of his athleticism. But I think Dennis Smith Jr. has the skill. He just needs the time to like bring it all together, slow down a little bit, and I think he'll end up being, I don't know about it, like a star, like all-star game, superstar point guard, but I think he could definitely be on that bridge of being that because I think he should be really good. I think he will be. I think we should pull the trigger on it if we can, him or Markelle.
So the Mavericks are my team. They're my team.
They are so fun to watch, man. I was so wrong about Luka Doncic, and now
them making the playoffs.
I love that man. He's so fun to watch.
Tony yelled at me.
It's hard not to like. It's hard not to like Luka Doncic. I'm not sitting here hopping on his bandwagon, but at the same time, I kind of am because
he was like, dude, Luka Doncic is not gonna make that big of a difference. They're not making the playoffs. They're terrible. They're not gonna make the playoffs. I'm like,
wrong.
You just wait and see. My Mavericks are making the playoffs, baby, and they still are making the playoffs. Mark my words.
Well, because usually
7th seed, maybe.
Usually those European players, Kristaps was like the exception, and like Dirk, obviously way back then, were like the exception to like those tall white dudes who end up being good. So like I saw Luka Doncic's highlights and like I thought, whoa, he's a skilled player, but he looked severely unathletic
and slow. He did look
slow. So like judging off of that, I was like, whoa, I don't think he's gonna be good. Like there's a lot of guys I've been wrong about apparently. Like Jaren Jackson has been doing really good. I did not think he was gonna be that good from what I saw at Michigan State.
No, we both didn't think he was gonna be good.
Well, they get better. So like there was a lot of people who had that view. Like, yeah, he looks like he can be good, but what he is right now might not be enough to survive.
No, you're right.
And
you're right.
They both proved me wrong. They've both been really good. Just like you with Trae Young. You thought Trae Young was going to be terrible. He's been pretty damn good so far.
Yeah, you're right. We're all wrong about some things, but I don't think they're going to trade.
Either way, we're the greatest. We're the 2 greatest guys of all time, and every prediction we make is gold, whether it's right or not. So
we're right very often.
We are.
Like TLC, our last podcast that we released, we were almost perfect on our predictions, and we were almost perfect on how they would happen.
When you're that educated about stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. We really put our research in,
Yeah,
guys.
you can formulate good predictions. Oh, yeah, we definitely do our homework on that. Yeah, definitely do. But,
I'm glad to be back.
I am.
Truly. I'm happy to be here. I feel rejuvenated.
Yeah. I do, too.
I'm right. I could talk for hours about any one of these subjects. But we got to bring it to a close pretty soon here.
We do. I'm sorry, guys.
I know you want to listen to us forever.
Oh, yeah.
And I know you liked my patriotic rant 10 minutes ago.
And I know you love the sound of my nice, deep, soothing voice.
Yeah.
Cool jazz, baby.
It sounds exactly like those lemon cough drops. if that were a sound, like lemon halls, if that were a sound, that's your voice.
All right.
And mine's like fucking terrible right now. I don't know. I haven't drank water in like a year.
That's all right. We're both, it's been a while, so we're getting in
the groove of things.
We're rusty, but give us like another episode. We'll be great, like we always are. But this was still great. Obviously, we just gotta get our feet wet again because it's been a while. Get our voices tuned and ready.
Primed and ready, baby.
Not mess up and jump over my words like I've been 100 times.
You always do that.
I know. I'm working on it though.
That's all right.
Well, before we stopped for a while, I was getting better at it, but it's obviously been a while since I've had a mic in front of me. So,
right. So
we're still great. It doesn't matter.
To recap real quick, Super Bowl, I'm saying Saints, Patriots.
And he's got the Saints winning it.
And I've got the Saints.
I got the Rams and Chiefs, and I got the Rams winning it. But I wouldn't be inclined to changing that, but I can't change my opinion. I'm going to go with the Rams still.
Mike Tomlin sucks.
Yeah.
AEW
is going to be great. It's going to be better than WWE.
Regardless of how it turns out, it's great for wrestling.
It is. It's fun time in
any competition
wrestling.
Is good competition.
Whether you like wrestling or not, it's fun.
CM Punk, we love you and we miss you.
Yeah, please come back.
Boogie,
in some way.
We hate you.
Yeah, Boogie, go back to the bench.
Enes Kanter, we support you.
Yep.
And Pistons,
we suck.
We blindly support you as always.
Oh yeah.
So Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everybody.
We're back. We're happy to be here.
Yes, we are.
And
stay tuned for more content, like we said earlier in the show. Just to recap on that too, we're just gonna get content out as we can, as stuff is booming, as stuff is to be talked about. We'll get stuff out to you. We're not gonna have like a set schedule, but we're gonna have a lot of content. Don't get worried about that. Our beautiful voices will be in front of these mics as much as we can get, and as much content as we can get to you.
We'll be entering your ears. We'll be inserting ourselves in your ears very often.
Very often.
So, and I'm hoping that, I just downloaded some editing software.
Yeah.
Editing software. So,
yeah.
I'm going to be trying to splice and dice up these into kind of bite-sized clips a little bit.
And we can try to get that disgusting noise that you can probably still hear behind us out of the way.
Yeah, hopefully that wasn't too annoying.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Yeah. That's out of our control. It won't be there next time. So, thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, we appreciate it. We
have been Hell's Gate Podcast.
We have.
You know our socials, but if you don't, we're Hell's Gate Podcast on everything. Hell's Gate PC on Twitter and Snapchat. And we love you. And
we love you very
soon.
much. It's a pleasure to be back. Stay tuned, and we'll be back soon. We love you. Hell's Gate Podcast, baby.
Greatest in the world.
Greatest.
Best in the world.
Oh, yeah.